Before mirrorless cameras took over the market, the DSLR was king. A huge part of my photography career was shot with a DSLR. This 5D Mark III actually. But nowadays it seems like we hardly see anyone shooting with these seemingly ancient pieces of technology. Is it because they're simply too outdated to be good enough for most photographers? I don't think so. In fact, I believe there are still plenty of reasons why DSLRs are actually better than mirrorless cameras. And in today's video, we're going to discuss exactly what makes these so special.
Infinito tren no se acaba. Los paisajes cambian.
Okay, so before we get started, I just want to clarify something. Yes, mirrorless cameras are technically superior in many ways. They have a ton of advantages over DSLRs, and there is a reason that they've pretty much replaced them. If you want the absolute best camera with the latest technology, get a mirrorless one. But if you're looking for a different, in my opinion, more fun and natural shooting experience, or you're on a budget, don't overlook DSLRs, especially older pro bodies. They offer insane value that's unmatched anywhere else. But before we begin, be sure to subscribe to see more great photography content. So this video comes at a time in which DSLRs have been making a little bit of a comeback. Cameras like the Nikon D700 and Canon 5D Classic are constantly praised for their gorgeous color signs and incredible shooting experience, all for a dirt cheap price. So in this video, I'm going to count down 5 of the reasons in which DSLRs are superior to mirrorless cameras, and I have ranked them from least to most significant in my opinion. So reason number 5 is the ergonomics and feel. Now this one is a bit subjective, but for me, DSLR ergonomics are unbeatable. Cameras like the Canon 5D Mark III have deep, comfortable grips that just feel so good in the hand. And outside of a single mirrorless camera, the Lumix S9, I haven't found anything that matches the chunky, satisfying nature of using a DSLR. Now, I get it. Some people dislike the larger size of DSLRs. I mean, maybe you've got small hands or you just don't care for the weight. But that extra size actually helps with handling, especially when shooting big, heavy lenses. Now, the one thing that always got me about mirrorless cameras, especially full frame ones, is that they shrunk the size of the bodies, but they kept the lenses more or less the same size. I mean, have you ever tried using a 24-70 2.8 on a small mirrorless body? It can feel pretty damn cramped. But on a DSLR, it's balanced, solid, and very perfect. Next up, for reason number 4, is the optical viewfinder experience. Now, this is a big one, as no matter how good EVFs get, they can't beat reality. Yes, electronic viewfinders have a ton of benefits. I mean, you can see your exposure in real time, get focus peaking, all that good stuff. But staring through a full frame DSLR's optical viewfinder, that is a whole different experience. It feels real, it feels natural, and in my opinion, it makes composing images so much easier. It's only recently that EVFs in mirrorless cameras have even gotten to the point where they are actually decent, as early EVFs featured shockingly low resolutions with terrible refresh rates that honestly gave you a migraine whenever you tried to use them. OVFs, on the other hand, will never let you down. And if you've never shot through an optical viewfinder, do yourself a favor and try it. It is bloody awesome. Next up, for reason number 3, is the battery life. Oh my god, I forgot just how good DSLR battery life was until I went back and started shooting with them again. And wow, it absolutely destroys mirrorless cameras. I mean, since DSLRs don't need to power an EVF or extra screens, they can get thousands of shots per charge. Just for fun, let's take a look at some numbers. So the SIPR ratings, which are usually pretty conservative, say that cameras like the Lumix S9 II, which is actually filming me right now, gets about 370 shots per charge. Although I would say I get around 600 shots per charge with mine. The Fuji X-T5 rated about 580 shots per charge, although I was getting maybe around 800. The X-T5 was honestly one of the best mirrorless cameras I'd ever used battery-wise. But let's compare that to some DSLRs. So the Canon 5D Mark III is rated at 950 shots per charge, although I often got well over 1250 when I used mine. This Nikon D700, rated at 1000 shots per charge. And I went out and I shot 800 photos with this thing and I'd only used a single bar of battery. That's it. But the craziest one of them all is without a doubt the Nikon D3. rated at 4,300 shots per charge. 4,300 shots. That is the conservative rating, by the way. I mean, you could go on a holiday for 2 weeks and not even need to charge the camera once. You could shoot an entire full day wedding and still have like 30% battery left over. I mean, it's insane. It's crazy. And these big pro bodies with the integrated battery grip are all going to have battery life in the thousands and thousands of shots per charge, which is awesome. It's so cool. And like, yes, mirrorless cameras do have USB-C charging, which is handy, and it means you can top up the battery life whenever you need to. But third-party USB-C DSLR chargers exist now, so that advantage really is not that big of a deal. Now, let's talk about reason number 2. So, the image output. Now, having shot with the D700 and the D3 recently, I was reminded of just how good images from these cameras look. And be sure to check out my full review of the D3 and the D700 to hear all my thoughts, which I'll link below. But the images have a certain character that is different from the ultra clean, sometimes clinical look of modern mirrorless cameras. I mean, even when I go back and re-edit my 5D Mark III files, I notice that I love them a lot more than a lot of my mirrorless shots. And this is something that I talked about in my review of this camera. I just think that they look so good. Like, I don't exactly know what it is about these cameras, but I just think they look amazing. And also, if you guys like the way that the photos look, they're all edited with my Lightroom presets. They're linked below if you're interested, and every purchase helps to support me and this channel. Also, the lower resolution sensors on older DSLRs can actually be a good thing, especially for portraits. Cameras like this D700 only have 12 megapixels, which seems quite low, but it makes it really good at hiding imperfections, and it makes retouching your images so much easier. And also, if you're just sharing to social media, 12 megapixels is honestly more than enough. But hey, if you want the highest resolution possible while still enjoying that beautiful DSLR experience, because maybe you want to shoot landscapes or stuff like that, don't worry, because I got you covered as well, as cameras like the Nikon D810, 850, or the 5DS or 5DSR on the Canon side of things feature huge resolutions, 40, 50 megapixels, that make them perfect for high resolution landscape or product photography at very affordable prices. And now, again, if you need the absolute best low light performance and autofocus, then yes, mirrorless is obviously the way to go, but you would be shocked at just how good these older DSLRs still are. And now, before we get to number 1, a bonus reason is the IR assist beam for flash photography. Now, this one is a bit niche, but if you shoot events or weddings in low light with a flash, this is huge. So DSLRs can use an IR assist beam from a speedlight. See this little red light that shines on your subject and gives you near instantaneous, dead accurate autofocus. But hang on, I mean, why can't you just use that beam with a mirrorless camera? I mean, you can use the same flash, right? Well, the way that mirrorless camera sensors are designed, they actually lack the ability to register that IR assist beam. Now, this was actually news to me when I finally made the switch to mirrorless, and was a huge reason why I continue to use this 5D Mark III for club work, despite the R6 being technically superior in many ways, except for its resolution, which the 5D3 was high resolution. But I do want to mention that if you are shooting any natural light stuff, so like in low light, obviously a mirrorless camera will perform better. But if you do all flash related stuff, or you're shooting in a studio that's maybe a little bit dimly lit, there is nothing that'll beat a DSLR for low light focusing. And now, for the number 1 reason in which DSLRs are better than mirrorless: the cost and value for money. Now, this is the big one. So, if you're just getting into photography and you're shocked at how expensive modern mirrorless cameras and lenses are, don't worry, as you can get an insanely capable DSLR setup for a fraction of the price. And lenses, DSLRs have them in abundance. So the Canon EF mount has 192 first-party lenses. The Nikon F mount, over 400 lenses. And you can use lenses from 1977 all the way to the current day, and they all work perfectly fine, with metering, EXIF data, and even focus confirmation. And unlike the modern Z mount, you can use things like AFD lenses with full autofocus control on these older Nikon DSLRs. You're stuck with manual focus only if you want to use those older AFD lenses on modern mirrorless cameras. And also, those numbers don't even cover the tons of third-party options from Sigma and Tamron. And since everyone decided that one day their DSLRs were simply not doing the job well enough, they are so easy to find on the used market and for dirt cheap. I mean, all these cameras can be found for nothing. And because all these pro bodies were used by a lot of professionals, there is so many of them out there as well. And just to wrap this video up, I'd like to go over a few camera recommendations. Every camera that I've talked about today, I would highly recommend. So the Nikon D3, D700, and Canon 5D Mark III. The 5D line especially are, in my opinion, some of the best DSLRs ever made, with the original 5D being a cult classic for color science, and if you want something a bit more modern, the 5D Mark IV is also fantastic. On the Nikon side of things, look at the D750 for a cheap and very capable pro body with excellent low light performance, or if your budget allows, the DA50 if you want to experience probably the best DSLR ever made. They're still actually being produced today, but you can save quite a bit if you buy used. Also, let me know if there are any other DSLRs that you personally love and use in the comments below, because I'd love to hear about them. So whether you're a beginner looking at getting your first camera, someone after a solid backup, or you just want a more unique and fun shooting experience, a DSLR offers such excellent value for money that you are doing yourself a serious disservice by not looking into them. So what do you guys think? A DSLR is still worth buying in 2025 and beyond? Let me know in the comments below. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week and have a great day.